All right, let's dive right in. We're going to be talking about something that's happening all around us, all the time, an invisible battle for your most precious and definitely most limited resource, your focus. You totally know this feeling, right? You sit down, you're ready to get one thing done, and then a notification dings, you open just one more tab, and suddenly, poof, an hour is gone. You feel completely scattered, like you're being pulled in a million different directions. And let me tell you, it's not just you, and it is absolutely not an accident. In fact, that scattered feeling, it has a very real cost. Researchers have actually found that constantly jumping between tasks can literally slash your productive time by as much as 40%. I mean, think about that. That is a huge chunk of our day, and it's a direct result of the digital world we're all living in. So, you have to wonder, why is our digital world built this way? Well, it's because there's an entire economic system that's been built specifically to capture and hold on to our attention. Let's really break down what that means. This isn't even a new idea. Way back in 1971, the Nobel Prize winner Herbert A. Simon basically saw this whole thing coming. He predicted that when you have a world with endless information, the real scarce resource isn't the information itself. It's the human attention needed to process it. When info is everywhere, our attention becomes incredibly valuable. And that scarcity, it created a whole new marketplace, what we now call the attention economy. This is a system where companies aren't just fighting for your money anymore. No, they are in a constant, fierce battle for your eyeballs, for your clicks, for your brain power. In this economy, your focus is the currency. Okay, so if our attention is the hot, new commodity, how is it being mined? Well, this is where the tech gets unbelievably sophisticated. We've moved way beyond simple persuasion into something much, much more powerful. So you might have heard of the concept of a nudge. It's a simple, static change, like a cafeteria putting the healthy salads out front. It works, but it's pretty basic. Well, AI has supercharged that idea into what's called the hyper nudge. This isn't static at all. It's a dynamic, deeply personalized system that literally reconfigures your digital world in real time, using your data to influence what you do next. And this all happens in a continuous, powerful feedback loop. First, the system grabs your data, what you click on, what you like, even how long you pause on a picture. Second, it uses that data to build a cognitive profile of you, figuring out your specific biases and weak spots. Third, it deploys a hyper nudge that's tailor-made just for you. And finally, it watches how you react, learns from it, and then refines the next nudge, getting better and better at shaping your behavior each and every time. So, what's the actual biological price we're paying for living inside this constant storm of distraction? Let's take a look at what all this endless task switching is physically doing to our brains. Let's be really clear about this. The science is in, and that thing we all like to brag about called multitasking, it's a total myth. Our brains simply cannot focus on multiple complex things at the same time. What we're actually doing is just switching back and forth really, really fast, and that puts a massive strain on our minds. And the costs of that strain are steep. I mean, look at this. Studies show that heavy digital multitasking leads to a higher cognitive load, which is why everything feels harder. It messes with our working memory, it reduces our ability to control our own thoughts, and it makes it way harder to filter out distractions. And even more seriously, it's strongly linked to higher stress and even symptoms of anxiety and depression. And hey, this isn't just about how people feel. When you put them to the test, the data is just stark. Study after study finds that people who are heavy media multitaskers consistently perform worse on tests of cognitive control. That's the very skill they think they're so good at. They are, quite simply, worse at managing their own attention. But this impact doesn't stop with our individual brains. The attention economy creates these, harmful side effects that ripple out and affect all of society, whether you're constantly online or not. Let's talk about three of the biggest ones. First, there's addiction. Platforms are literally designed to trigger those little dopamine hits in your brain that keep you coming back for more. Second, there's the spread of disinformation. Why? Because really outrageous, shocking, and false content is amazing at grabbing attention, so the algorithms push it to the top for profit. And third, surveillance. The whole business model is based on collecting and selling our personal data, often without us really having a clue what we've agreed to. Okay, I know this all sounds pretty bleak. It can feel like we're up against this giant, unbeatable system, but it's not hopeless.
There are real steps we can take, both as individuals and as a society, to start reclaiming our own minds.
On a personal level, there's some really effective stuff backed by research. Things like mindfulness training have been shown to actually improve our cognitive control. Digital detoxes, yep, just taking regular, planned breaks from your devices can help your brain recover. And maybe the simplest thing of all, turning off all non-essential notifications can dramatically cut down on the constant interruptions. But individual actions, while important, might not be enough to counter a system this powerful. So some legal experts and philosophers are thinking bigger, way bigger. They're starting to argue for a brand new fundamental human right, the right to mental self-determination. Basically, the right to form our own thoughts and make our own choices, free from this kind of hidden manipulation. And that really leaves us with the big, critical question we all need to think about. The digital world we live in isn't neutral. It's built from the ground up to profit from our distraction. So in a world like that, how do we protect our simple, fundamental right to just think, to focus, to decide for ourselves? Answering that might just be the defining challenge of our time.